Jay here from Stretford Paddock. This is the Paper Talk. As you can see, we're in the studio. We are live, so do get involved in the comments and the chat. We're going to be talking about the latest Manchester United transfer news. We're going to be talking about some transfers. It feels like we've been talking about Erik ten Hag's future forever. Well, we're going to move it on a little bit and talk about... No, we're still going to mention Erik ten Hag's future because we've got to, because it's still all over the papers. But we are going to talk about potential incomings for Manchester United this summer. So make sure you are hitting that like, share and subscribe button. Loads of people in the chat already. MJ420 says, as long as Jay ain't in the video, I will watch it. Thank you. Unfortunately, I am, so... I don't know, he's probably not watching anymore. Tiger UK says, morning. Adam Ball, Abdul Kazar, morning Jay. Santa Notch. Amazon van season is upon us. Yes, Stephen Alson with his Amazon vans. Whitterbird Vicky, Dan Bowes, BMW Racing 1974, Ross Wheeler, Mick Holohan, loads of people in the chat. Make sure all you wonderful people are hitting that like button, please. We're not even on 20 likes yet. Let's get to 100 likes. Let's do this. I like this. Tiger UK says, we're watching it because Jay's in the vid. Thank you. Bit of yin and yang. Let's talk about these strikers then. Seen on the thumbnail, there's a load of strikers we've been linked with. There you get me words out. So there's a story in ESPN. I think this came from Rob Dawson. Rob, good guy. I've had him on the channel quite a few times. Relatively reliable. Say relatively. I think he's one of the better ones. You can see here Ivan Toney, Jonathan David and Joshua Zirkzee on Man United striker shortlist. Sources. It goes on to say, we spoke about this last night, but we only mentioned it briefly, so I want to get into it a little bit more today. It says, Man United have drawn up a list of striker targets ahead of the summer transfer window, which includes Ivan Toney, Jonathan David, and Joshua Zirkzee. Now, let's go through some of these. Let's have a little chat quickly about some of these players. Now, Ivan Toney is the one that most of us will probably know the most about because obviously he plays in the Premier League. He's been in the papers a lot because he's been linked with a lot of clubs, not just Manchester United. In fact, he's probably been linked with Arsenal more than he's been linked with Manchester United. I think he was linked with Chelsea at one point as well. He's obviously in the England squad, so there's a lot of attention and press around Ivan Toney. I saw an interview with him recently where he says if England win the Euros, he's going to get I think he said he's going to get a tattoo, is what he said. However, it's not all been plain sailing for him. Obviously, he had that suspension because of his betting scandal. He came back, and in the first 5 games back in the Premier League, he scored 4 goals, which is obviously very good. Everyone thought, okay, he's come back, he's hit the ground running. However, he's not scored a goal since mid-February. He's gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8... 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 games, I think it is, without scoring in the Premier League. That's a concern. You can't ignore that. He's 28 years old as well, so he's not a kid. So, I don't know. Let me know what you think about Ivan Toney, because I'm a little bit sceptical. There was a time when I really wanted him. I thought we should have bought him when he got suspended. I know that makes no sense whatsoever when you say it like that, but I thought if we can get him in January and he could be a backup striker to Rasmus Højlund, then he could do a job for us. However, you're going to go for him in the summer. I think Brentford are going to want a decent amount of money for him. There are a few question marks there. There you can see it says there, thank you, more than 50 million for Toney. 28, so not much resale value there if you want to look at it from a business point of view. Gone 13 games without a goal. I'm not feeling it. Let me know what you think. I've gone off Toney a little bit. I don't know. I just feel that there's a few issues there. His lack of goals, his age this season, his age. Also as well, and I know this shouldn't really matter, but it just annoys me the fact that I keep seeing him doing these interviews talking about leaving Brentford and how he's going to move on and all the rest of it. Jonathan David is another one we've been linked with for quite some time. 24 years old. He's got a fantastic birthday. It's the same as mine. Not that matters to anyone other than me. 26 goals in his last 2 seasons. Very consistent. Scored 26 last season, 26 the season before. So he knows where the net is. 19 goals in League 1 in 34 games. Can't be ignored. He's a decent player, Jonathan David. He is. There's times when I watched him, and I've not watched a lot of him, when he looks a little bit, I don't know, a little bit inconsistent, shall we say. There's times you look at him and think, wow, he's mint. There's other times you look at him and think, he's not all that. So I don't know. I'm a little bit on the fence with Jonathan David. Again, though, I don't think you're going to get him for pennies. Could cost you quite a bit of money. Who was the other one we were linked with? Was it Zirkzee? Zirkzee's the other one, Joshua Zirkzee. Now, he's Dutch, which gives him an advantage. 23 years old. Bologna have obviously had a very, very good spell. Thiago Motta was linked with Manchester United, wasn't he? Ended up going to, I think it was Juve, wasn't he? And he's 34 million release clause in his contract. The only issue you've got with with Joshua Zirkzee is his goal scoring record is patchy. 12 goals in 37 games. It's all right. It's not too shabby. The previous season, 2 in 21 in all competitions. So there's question marks there, isn't there, about his consistency. 23 years old. I don't know, man. I'm a bit worried as well. I think if we buy another Dutch player, everyone's going to think this is getting ridiculous. I don't want to say we have to go all Brexit and not buy anyone Dutch, but it would be a little bit concerning if it was yet another Dutchman, especially one who's questionable. However, Luke H says, Zirkzee is the man. Young, cheap, can play false nine and also knows where the back of the net is, can lead the line or even play alongside Rasmus. So he's feeling him, and obviously he's watched him a lot more than I have. Danny Bowes agrees. Zirkzee is a solid option, tall, strong and still young enough to improve. Won't cost a bomb either. 34 million quid. That's a decent price. You don't get many strikers or attackers for 34 million quid. Let me know what you think. Jarno Borken says, why not go for Garassi? He is cheap and still good for 7-8 years, but I only hear him going to Dortmund. That was the kid who just had that mad sort of purple patch, didn't he? Seriously, says, which has the best attitude and injury record? These are the boxes we need to start prioritising as well as just ability. Well, as Ronaldo Brown says, the best ability is availability. Got that one wrong, didn't I? Robert Temple says, no good Dutch footballers anymore. Adam says he's going to Milan. I mean, it's not a bad selection. There's a lot of positives for them. There's some slight flaws with him. Do I see it happening with any of them? I don't know. Mark Cahill says, we only have one Dutch player, Jay. Is that all we've got? Feels like we've got more. We've only got one Dutch player. Is it literally just Tyrell Malacia? Is that the only one? Sorry? Got Donny van der Beek. You're not counting him. Is that it? Donny van der Beek and Tyrell Malacia. It's not a lot of Dutch players, but how many players have we got from the Dutch league? That's the question. It just looks a little bit like we keep going back to the Dutch league. Anthony's not Dutch. He's from the Dutch league. Lisandro Martinez, who I love, by the way, isn't Dutch. He's from the Dutch league. Christian Eriksen was in the Dutch league. I think even Mason Mount, didn't he? Played in the Dutch league. Onana, he's Cameroonian, but he's in the Dutch league. So there's a lot of players who've come from the Dutch league. That is my only sort of, I wouldn't say issue with it. The only thing I'd mention there. Van der Beek is still here, says Ross Murphy. Yeah, he is. Hit that like button, guys, says Chris Scott. Matthew Thomas says, Tony's a pen merchant, and we already have Bruno. Enrico Daniel says, you guys fall out with Fabrizio Romano? No, not at all. We're never friends with him. We used to have him on the channel, but we never fell out with him. We tend to do most of our interviews, not all of them, but most of our interviews, people in the studio, journalists in the studio. But we're still, not falling out with Romano. We quote him and probably get him back on at some point. Let's talk about other targets as well. Man United can sign their own William Saliba as exciting transfer greenlit by club chief. So this is by Alex Turk. We know Alex well, part of the firm. It says here, Lille president Olivier Letang has confirmed that United target Lenny Yoro can leave the club this summer due to a clause in his contract. The highly rated centre-back has been linked with a switch to Old Trafford, although Real Madrid...
It's Lenny Yoro, isn't it? It's Lenny Yoro.
I thought, right? Yeah. Am I going mad then? And I just had a moment, right, where I was like... that's why I took a pause. And then and you know what I did, right? Producer Ethan just flagged it up. I got so confused then. I didn't know if I'd corrected it instinctively and said Lenny Yoro, or if I'd read it as Yenny Loro, or if that was wrong or my memory was wrong. It proper threw me. So, listen, I like Alex Turk. He's a good kid. But I'm not going to put much weight in an article that gets the player's name wrong. Yeah? I'm just going to put it out there. I'm not going to say, well, that is a here we go. That is happening when you have literally got a player who doesn't exist. There is no Yenny Loro. Yeah? There's only Lenny Yoro. Right? There's only one Lenny Yoro. Not yet Yenny Loro It's Lenny Yoro, not Yenny Loro. You understand? I know this sounds like I'm having a breakdown, but you can see it on the screen. So I'm not going to talk about this article anymore because it's annoyed me, to be honest with you. Come on, Alex. You're better than that. Let's talk about Erik ten Hag. We've not spoken about him for about 10 minutes. There's some good quotes. Producer Ethan says, why has the subs just gone down by one? Who's just unsubscribed? Start subscribing, people. We want to get to 751,000 by the end of this video. There you go. They've got it right. Lenny Yoro and Jonathan David can leave the club this summer. Both have the exit voucher due to their contract situation, Letang confirmed. The exit voucher, I don't know if that's a translation, if that's something he's just invented himself, but he's basically saying they can go. Listen, get involved in the chat in the comments. Let me know what you think. Santa Notch says Lenny Yoro will exist one day. BMW Racing 1974 says Lenny Yolo, maybe. Stephen Holmes says Red Lorry, Yenny Loro. Jonas Loic says Erik ten Hag have no excuse now, in capital, so I get the impression they're shouting that. Santa Notch says Lenny Lawrence. There's a blast from the past. Was he manager at like Middlesbrough or something back in like the late 80s? Excuse me. The A says Lenny Yoro. Very good. Ant L says, Jay, we don't have the funds and clubs will lowball us for sales knowing our financial issues. Right, should we talk about Ten Hag then? We know he's staying. We're expecting a deal. There you go. We're not falling out for Fabrizio Romano. We're quoting him. Erik ten Hag's contract extension at Man United is considered a matter of time. Negotiations progressing very well, with both sides believing new deal will be agreed soon. It could be valid for 2 more years, with details still under discussion. I think this was in the Telegraph as well yesterday. Fabrizio Romano obviously running it as well. We do expect Erik ten Hag to be offered a new deal. Simply letting him stay for another 12 months doesn't do anyone any favours, especially with the amount of speculation regarding his future because of all the interviews that United did with other managers. You need to back this manager properly by more than just saying, well, we're not going to sack you. And I think offering him a new deal, a new 2-year extension, is a good, positive move by Manchester United. Charlton, says Lee Birch. Sorry for Lenny Lawrence, thank you. What do you think it is? Do you want Erik ten Hag to be given a contract extension? I feel like most of the people I speak to, whether that's in my group chats, whether that's face to face, whether it's here, whether it's on socials, wanted Erik ten Hag to stay. I think the vast majority of Reds wanted him to stay at Old Trafford. Do you think we need to give him a contract extension though? That is the next question, because he could stay for a year. They could just say, well, you've still got a year left on your deal. We'll leave it at that. Or would you like to see him being given an extension? I want to see him being given an extension. I also don't like the way he's been treated. I think it's been pretty shambolic, if I'm being brutally honest. And I think giving him a contract extension lets everyone know you are backing him, lets the players know he's here for the long haul, or at least the longer haul, and gives the manager a little bit more security. Let me know what you think. Gary Cook says, I feel like we owe Erik ten Hag after the BS. Josh Dude says, got to extend. Can't have a lame duck coach. I agree with that. What's this? Sorry. Santa Notch says, remember him at Charlton. I think we're still talking about Lenny Lawrence. Jace Parker says, morning, Jay. Lovely to see you. As per, good to see you as well. Ross Murphy says he was assistant at Crystal Palace. I think we're going on about Lenny Lawrence there. Anthony Farr says, as a show of faith, I think we have to. Yeah, I agree. Ross Murphy says it has to be an extension. Wayne Davies says he needs an extension so that players know he isn't just here for next season. Yeah, I agree with all that, to be honest with you. I feel like he does need an extension. Some people, though, Sir Walt says 1 year extension. You could give him a 1 year extension. I don't think that's the end of the world. But 2 years does make a lot of sense as well. Personally, I'd give him a 2 year extension if it was up to me, but it ain't. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Let's have a look at this role change for Erik ten Hag. I mean, I feel like we're absolutely kicking this guy all over the gaff. This is from Disco Dave McDonnell in the Mirror. It says, Jim Ratcliffe demanding Erik ten Hag immediately change his role despite staying at Manchester United. So it says, United have decided to keep ten Hag as first team manager following a lengthy review conducted by Ineos chiefs, including Red Devils co-owner Sir Jim Ratcliffe. The article then goes on to say, Erik ten Hag is set for a battle of wills with United over the terms of his proposed new deal. After confirming ten Hag will be staying in charge following the conclusion of their end-of-season review, United revealed talks will open with their manager over a new contract. Great, fantastic. However, here's the fly in the ointment. Ten Hag As a year left on his deal, new improved. However, the sticking point with any new deal is likely to be the insistence from United co-owner Sir Jim Ratcliffe and his team that Ten Hag's role be changed from manager to head coach. What do you think of this? Because it does feel a little bit snide, doesn't it? A bit Wesley Sneijder, saying, right, well, you're going to stay, we're going to keep you, but you're not going to be the manager anymore, you're going to be head coach. I mean, really? Do we even need to do that? Do we need to change his title? Do we need to tell him that? Surely he knows from the conversations he's had already the sort of parameters he's going to be working within. I don't know. I just feel like a lot of these stories I hear about what's happening with Erik ten Hag, the managers we've been interviewing has undermined him. The likes of Marco Silva should never have been interviewed for a Manchester United job. The fact that we're hearing a story, I think James Jackson had a story that Jason Wilcox advised Erik ten Hag to play Bruno in a false nine, which again seems a bit odd because Erik ten Hag has done that quite a lot. And also, if you're the manager of Manchester United going into an FA Cup final, are you going to suddenly just start taking advice of someone else about your team? I don't think you will. And it just feels like all these stories kind of undermine the manager a little bit. So yeah, let me know what you think. Loads of people in the chat. Joe Corcoran says, why would they recruit a whole new sporting structure and then let him do anything he wants? I get that, but I just feel like the whole, well, you're not a manager, you're a head coach thing, it just seems a little bit petty. Santa Knox says, probably part of the restructure plans to have a head coach, but who knows? Punk says, I think these stories are to show who the leaks are. We've got the leak story, I think. This is from Florian Plettenberg, his friend of the channel. We've had him on a few times. Very reliable as well. And he says, understand that Manchester United... Oh, no, I can't cope. Do you know what? There's nothing I hate more than a story that says monitoring. Closely monitoring the situation. I like Florian, and I get it. But I find these stories almost meaningless. Manchester United is closely monitoring the situation of Matthijs de Ligt. Erik ten Hag is still a big fan of de Ligt, and United is looking for a new centre-back. De Ligt is allowed to leave Bayern for a suitable offer, also because Ito will sign today and Tart is still a top target. De Ligt, top player, top mentality, now totally focused on the Euros. This just feels like a bit of a, I don't know, an obvious one. De Ligt obviously knows Ten Hag, and Ten Hag knows him from the time at Ajax. I think they were together there at Ajax, weren't they? He's probably surplus to requirements. He's in and out of the team anyway, I think, at Bayern. There are times, I think, he got back into the team, but there was a time when it was Upamecano and Kim Min-jae. Then I think Kim Min-jae fell out of favour. Now, obviously, they're bringing in some new defenders as well. So it makes sense, this one, but I don't know how much is in it. And again... Listen, and I'm not anything against Dutch players or players from the Dutch league or players from Ajax, but we can't just keep buying Ajax or former Ajax players. That can't be your transfer policy. Just recreate the 2020 Ajax team. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Do you think I'm being a bit harsh? Daniel Beggs, welcome to the Academy. Big thank you to you. Extra content for our members if you sign up to our memberships. Let's talk about the World Cup format. Something a bit different. So Rob Harris says, background below from May on the case, which has now seen England's Professional Footballers Association launch legal action. Everyone loves legal action, don't they? With other European unions in Belgium to call on FIFA to abandon plans to hold a new 32-team Men's Club World Cup in 2025 because of concerns about burnout. Yeah, this is this Club World Cup that apparently is going to happen in 2025. And there's a real concern, as you can see there, that players are going to be knackered. And I agree. I think they will. I think you can't keep asking players to play game after game after game and increasing the amount of games they're playing. And if people go, oh, well, the young, fit footballers, the world looks after, players are human beings. They're going to get knackered. We saw it in the World Cup when we had in Qatar. Some of the United players played like 60 games that season. I think Bruno Fernandes played more minutes than anyone in the world. It's ridiculous. And you're just going to have players that are goose, have players that are getting injured more, and the level and quality of the football that you're watching week in, week out is going to lower because players are just not performing to their optimum levels. I'm sort of with the PFA on this one. Let me know what you think. Akash K says, concerns of burnout, so why scrap winter break? I think there's too much football, and I love football, but I think they are in danger of going the wrong way and having too much of it. Hit that like button, please, people. We've still not got to 200 likes. Come on, we can do. We can do better. Wayne Davies says, De Ligt is made of Weetabix. Big T Guitars says, can't we get Kim instead of De Ligt and make John Shin happy? John Shin would be absolutely buzzing if we got Kim Min Jae. He was devoed when we didn't get him. He wanted him, didn't he? I'm going to wrap it up there. We're going to be back later on today with... off the bar, me, Joe, Stephen Howson. Big thank you to everyone who got involved in the chat and the comments. I see a lot of the usual suspects there. Great to see Stretford in there, great to see Akash K, Witterbird, Vicky, Santa Notch, all you guys and everyone else as well who's got involved. It's been a really good chat. I'll see you on the next one, and thanks for watching.